With the upcoming release of the new Dungeons update, there has been a lot of talk about which weapons will be best for each class. One of these being whether to use a Runaan's bow for the Archer class or a Magma Bow because of its double damage. Because there has been so much talk about these two weapons, but little gameplay to fully support it, I've decided to put these two weapons up against each other to see which one suits you better. However, before we do get to testing, just a quick reminder that if you have any further questions or comments about today's video, be sure to pop into my Twitch streams. I stream every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. The links are down in the description below. We may do some further testing that didn't make it into this video over there, so if you'd like to see that, make sure you stop by. Without further ado, let's jump straight into the video. Alrighty, so I'm here with my two bows, the Runaan's bow and my Magma Bow right here. They both have the exact same enchantments, except for the fact that my Runaan's does have Dragon Hunter 3. This will not make too much of a difference in today's video though, because we aren't going to be testing this on dragons, just on other different mobs and whatnot. So I thought just getting every other enchant, like Snipe, Piercing, Aiming, Infinite Quiver, the main ones, and of course the Hot Potatoes with the same reforges would be plenty. And of course the Runaan's bow also has a Fire Spiral rune, but once again, that doesn't really matter to the damage test. So, to start things off here, you can see right behind me we've got these armor stands. I just want to test the damage, raw, sort of attack these armor stands to see right off the bat here. So we do have a lot of magma cream in my inventory that I'll be using for the Magma Bow, and for the Runaan's bow, I do have a bunch of arrows in my quiver, which is what's going to be using for that. So, how about you shoot this diamond armored armor stand here? So if we just shoot it right here, smack bang in the center, you see about 5,900 damage for 2 arrows and 1,700. So if we just try that again here, that did the exact same thing. See if we maybe can get a different damage number, but by the looks of it, it's always going to be 5,000 damage, just a little bit under 6,000 with the Runaan's bow. But keep in mind that there are 3 arrows there, so in total, we can deal 29,000 or so damage, because if you look at the middle shot here, it actually does 17,000 damage, and then you add the other 5,000 damages to that, you get around 29,000, 30,000 damage per shot with the Runaan's bow. However, if we switch over to the Magma Bow, which if you look at the base stats, it doesn't have as much damage or strength like the Runaan's. It actually has more strength than the Runaan's bow, but the damage is a little bit lacking there. So let's have a look and see. If we use a Magma Cream and we shoot this thing, we can deal 20,000 damage. So not as much as the Runaan's bow, however, that is with one single shot, while with the Runaan's bow, if you shoot a target and all 3 of the arrows will hit, then you deal more damage. But with the Magma Bow, it's all about just hitting the single arrow. You can deal more damage to whatever mob you're doing. And we can just test this on the other ones as well. This will do 20,000 damage. This will do 20,000 damage. If we just shoot this guy, exact same thing here. It's doing the same amount of damage, but keep in mind that this bow is shooting 3 at once. We're hitting all 3 of those arrows on this target. So how are we going to take it to a more realistic test over in the Crypt and pretend like we're going to be farming for revs to see which one is more efficient when doing that? Okay, so I'm in the Crypt now, and what I want to do is I'm going to run through the Crypt just like I would when I farm Revenant Horrors. So if I just run through here, so I shoot these things with my Runaan's, but you can see that it takes quite some time to kill this Runic. Like, this Runic isn't taking much damage, and we're doing a little bit less damage than I would like to. But right there, we got a nice crit off. It hit 2 at once. We just run through. So with the Runaan's bow, it's pretty nice. Being able to shoot 3 arrows at once is somewhat helpful. When you add piercing onto that as well, you can hit more mobs at once with it too, which is pretty helpful. So overall there, we're doing a pretty solid job here, just running straight through, being able to steamroll through them, no big deal whatsoever. So when it comes to farming revs, Runaan's bow is very simple. You can see right there getting a triple kill on those. We could maybe get rid of this Golden Ghoul as well, who has got a lot more health, so we're going to have to try and get closer to it to hit all of our arrows. But once again, you can see here, we're only doing about 5,000 damage because the center arrow isn't actually hitting. It's the side arrows that are doing that instead. So how about we go to the entrance of the Crypt now? Let's go test out the Magma Bow and see how well we can run through the mobs again, but see the difference between the two. Maybe the Magma's going to be better, maybe the Runaan's was better. We'll see. Let's give it a go. Alright, back at the entrance here, this time I'm going to run through with the Magma Bow. So if I go through here and shoot my first shot there, we're able to do a easy double kill on those mobs, on those Crypt Ghouls, and on these two as well. Very nicely done. We're doing also about 5,000 damage as far as I can see. So if we shoot this guy, actually no, we're doing 20,000 damage. I must have misread that completely. So you can see that with this bow, we're doing way more damage than the Runaan's. However, we only shoot 1 arrow at a time, so we're completely relying on piercing to do its job here. As you can see, getting a nice collateral onto that zombie there, being able to shoot this one as well. Maybe the Golden Ghoul is going to be much easier to take out because we can do about 20,000 damage a shot. Right there, you can see double tapping the Golden Ghoul. We had a much easier time with the Magma Bow than we did with the Runaan's bow. And once again, another thing to keep in mind is that we're using Magma Cream for this test. We're not actually using regular arrows, which is really the only reason why you want to be using the Magma Bow anyway, is if you're going to use the perk of shooting double damage with Magma Cream than with arrows in general. So I'm actually having a really easy time going through the Crypt here. This is a lot lot easier than the Runaan's bow in my opinion, because we're able to do so much more damage and the piercing is a factor. You don't really need the triple arrows. These zombies aren't really getting anywhere near me. We're able to keep our distance, shoot them down, do a lot of damage here, not sword swapping or anything. So overall, I'd say this is a huge success. If I'm being honest, I kind of liked the Magma Bow a lot more than the Runaan's in that situation, so I think I'm going to have to give it to the Magma Bow on this one. But the Runaan's bow does come in at a close second here. The Runaan's is just more of a convenience thing with those 3 arrows. You can sort of kill things a little bit faster, and also if you're able to funnel all 3 arrows at the one single target, then it will be much more efficient. But how about we go move over to tarantulas now, and we'll see how it feels on tarantula mobs. Once again, testing it like we are going to fight some slayers. Alright, so I am at the top of the den here. Once again, we're going to start off with the Runaan's bow and then shift over to the Magma bow. So if I just shoot my first arrow here, you can see that we are completely missing the skeleton in front of us. Not doing too well here. We did manage to hit 3 mobs just down there. Maybe if we can hit that spider. We managed to hit only the skeleton and the spider there. But we did manage to hit that voracious and then those 2 over there. So very nicely done with the Runaan's bow. Let's see if we can go find a giant clump of spiders like right over here. If we shoot just into the thicker things, you can see that our Runaan's bow pretty much cleared every single one with just one single shot. We actually got a dash spider jumping us there. Pretty comfortable so far. I'm quite liking how this is going. We're able to do a lot of damage, being able to clear out these spiders with no troubles at all. Let's have a look and see if we can find one more clump of spiders perhaps, or maybe we'll have to go back to the top of the nest. Got about 3 of them over here, so if I shoot 1, 2, oh, it didn't even kill the second one there, maybe because I didn't pull my bow back all the way. What if we got maybe some up here? Only able to kill 1 there, so I would say that the Runaan's bow is pretty good in this situation. If you can find larger clumps of spiders, it's able to clear them out really nicely. So I said the Runaan's bow, once again, pretty good success with this one. A very comfortable, easy bow, and it works really well against the spiders because none of them will have over like 2000 HP versus the Crypt ghouls, where you sometimes will get a golden ghoul which has about 40,000 HP. So you would want the Magma bow as it does way more damage to a single target. Alright, back up at the top of the nest here, we are going to be running through the whole thing with the Magma bow now, and we'll see how comfortable it is to farm spiders with this bow instead. So without further ado, let's just take a quick shot over here. It's going to be able to hit 3 mobs at once, but not killing that tarantula vermin. Of course, it does have 45,000 HP. We just hear a 4 shot right there. So Magma bow once again pulling through and doing a pretty solid job of clearing out all those mobs, so not too bad. Able to kill these one single targets quite nicely. See if we can maybe shoot down there and hit those spiders. We're able to hit 6 or 7 over. That's actually really nicely done by the Magma bow. Although if we were using a Runaan's in that situation, it would have been able to do the exact same thing, as these spiders do have a lot less health than the Crypt ghouls do. So I would say that so far the Runaan's is looking like it might be slightly better for spider farming, just because having extra arrows is more helpful. You can hit more spiders, so saying like a wider funnel. So we had a spider over there, we had a skeleton jockey, and then we had a spider down there. If you use the Runaan's, but you can see you can hit like 2, 3 mobs all at different times and speed things up slightly, while with the Magma bow, you gotta wait for it to hit every single spider individually. Right there, we're not doing a very good job of clearing them out. So overall, I wouldn't say the Magma bow is terrible in this situation. I still like it, and I still like how comfortable it feels when trying to kill these spiders here, but I will have to give this one to the Runaan's bow in this case, because once again, look at this. If we just shoot 3 arrows, being able to clear all of the spiders and hit that vermin off into the corner, super convenient, much faster with the Runaan. So how about we head over to the castle now, and we'll see what it's like to farm Svens. Alrighty, so we are here over at the castle now, holding the Runaan's bow, because that's what we're going to be doing first up here. So if we just jump down this little spot through the window, see how it feels to use the Runaan's bow killing all these wolves. So there's no real clumps of wolves here, which doesn't really make the Runaan's as useful as say the Magma bow, but at the same time, it's not doing terrible. Right there, we got a nice triple kill, and because the arrows shoot out in groups of 3, they were able to split off really nicely amongst those wolves. So feeling pretty good so far. Able to hit that wolf all the way over there. Maybe we can get this clump over there. Looks like all 3 honed onto that one single wolf, so it wasn't able to do a nice collateral like it would have with other mobs. This old wolf does have a lot of health, so we're going to struggle a little bit there to take it out, as hitting all 3 of those arrows didn't seem to have done too much damage. Although most of these wolves do have only 250 HP, so it's doing pretty solid so far. The old wolves are the only ones that take a little bit extra effort there. You can see if we just shoot it one more time, being able to take that out with an extra like 5th or 6th shot. So overall, not too bad here. Using the Runaan's bow feels pretty good. I would say because there's a lot of weaker hit pointed mobs and they aren't really as clumped up as say spiders. So let's switch over to the Magma bow and see how that goes. Alright, so now we have the Magma Bow here. Let's go through the entire course, just the same way we did with the Runaans. We've got a lot more wolves this time, so if I just shoot that one, you can see only getting one shot there, one shot there. So to be fair, the Magma Bow isn't feeling too great so far, but we are only getting into this. We're only able to hit one target at a time. Can we maybe hit that one over there? Yes, if we can hit this one over here. So this does do a lot more damage than the Runaans, and our Ring of Love did just proc over there. There was a group of 3, and we weren't able to clear out all 3 with one single arrow. So far, not too good. We were able to pierce through that one there. We are able to one-shot the old wolves, however, which is very, very useful when farming Svens. It speeds things up a lot. For me, at least, when I'm farming them with my Runaans, it does take ages to shoot them, as you saw with the little test we did before. But I think I might have to give this one to the Runaans. This isn't actually as useful as I thought it would be. We're only able to kill one at a time, and realistically, the piercing isn't really doing its job. It didn't bounce off to there or anything, and honestly, this isn't doing as great as I thought. So I'm gonna have to give this to the Runaan's Bow once again. Runaan's Bow currently wins the 2 out of the 3 tests that we've done, so you're better off using a Runaan's for tarantulas and for the wolves, but I would still say Magma is better against Revs because they have more health, and it's gonna be much more useful for that. However, we still have the Blazing Fortress, so let's head over there and test it on the Magma Cubes. Okay, so we are in the last place we're going to be testing for today's video, and that is here at the Blazing Fortress. So I wanted to try out the Blazing Fortress because there are some very large groups of Magma Cubes, and while you may not be farming Magma Cubes if you have a Magma Bow or a Runaan's Bow, it's still pretty nice to sort of gauge how good they are at dealing with clumps of slime type mobs, because both these bows have cubism. They are pretty effective against Magma Cubes and slimes. So without further ado, let's get to shooting these guys with the Runaan's Bow. The Runaan's is doing a very good job so far of cleaning these guys out. You can see that we're doing a lot of damage to multiple things at once. Being able to get that nice zoom in, you can see that we just managed to kill all of those very easily here, and still able to sort of attack all of them at once, just running through the entire thing, sort of steamrolling these Magma Cubes with no big deal, even though there aren't too many spawning. For the very few clumps that were on the bridge there, doing a lot of damage. Now, there are ghasts up in the sky. Not going to test these bows on those today, because ghasts, while they're only a single target, they're pretty weak as well. You can sort of guess that both the bows will do a decent amount of damage to the ghasts, but these Magma Cubes, Runaan's Bow is very good at clearing them out. So, how about we switch over to the Magma Bow now, see how that feels, and I'll see you guys when we go and do that. Okay, so going through the same course once again with the Magma Bow, we have some Magma Cubes shooting us right now, so we're able to one-shot them very easily, just like we did with the Runaan's Bow. However, the piercing, while I said it wasn't going to go off, it did go off there pretty nicely and get 3 Magma Cubes with one single shot, but we're only able to sort of hit 1 at a time, and that is solely because we only shoot 1 instead of 3 arrows like the Runaan's. We did get a nice collateral attack over there, though. How about we take it over to the bridge and see how much damage we can do over there. So just AOTE there, attack this Magma Cube, only killing 1 at a time here. Maybe we can get a nice clump like we did before with these level 3s, although it's looking like it's not really doing that right now. So I think it's safe to say here that with this little test that we're running through with the Magma Bow, I think that the Runaan's Bow will take the cake here, as the triple shot is so much more useful. Although despite we just saying that, we did just get a very nice collateral over there on that part of the bridge. But once again, Runaan's Bow having that triple shot is a huge advantage with these clumps of mobs. It's much easier to sort of attack them and get a nice 4-5 hits on them with the triple shot and ricocheting over to that Magma Cube as well. So for the Blazing Fortress, the Runaan's Bow still beats the Magma Bow in this test. How about we go over to the island and we can go up and tally the results. Alright, so we have finished up our testing now with these 2 bows here, the Runaan's Bow and the Magma Bow, putting them in the center of my inventory here. You can see that the Magma Bow once again does do the double damage per use of Magma Cream instead of arrows, which is really what makes it such a close competitor. Being able to do way more damage with just 1 single arrow is pretty helpful and does come in useful in some situations, but the Runaan's Bow seems to be a lot better taking out swarms than the Magma Bow does, as you saw with the Spiders test, with the Wolf test, and with the Magma Cube test. So when it came to single target mobs like with the Crypt ghouls, those guys had a lot more HP than the other mobs did, and using single shot high DPS is much more useful, as you're able to clear them out with ease and have almost no troubles at all. Or with the Runaan's Bow, you're going to be there shooting multiple times over and over again and trying to take them out with a lot more arrows than you would use with a Magma Bow. So now I come to the conclusion, which of these 2 bows is the better weapon? Well, I think I'm going to have to leave this one up to you guys, and also your personal preference and what you're looking for. So you heard me mention at the very beginning of the video about dungeons and how these 2 bows are sort of close competitors, and a lot of talk has sort of been brought up about these 2 bows because of the new archer class. And in reality, I think I'm going to have to say that the Magma Bow might actually be better for dungeons, only because aiming doesn't actually exist in dungeons, and without aiming, the Runaan's bow is very hard to hit your shots with, because those 3 shots, rather than homing in on the enemies, will just sort of like split off and go elsewhere and not actually hit the mobs the way you want them to. However, with the Magma Bow, you're not really having to worry about that, because you're able to do a single projectile huge amount of damage. The aiming is sort of irrelevant as such, and it relies more on your accuracy. So as long as you can hit your shots with the Magma Bow, it's going to have a much better time than the Runaan's bow. So all in all, to quick recap, the Runaan's bow is much better against swarms, large groups of mobs, or mobs with huge hitboxes, and the Magma Bow is better for those niche, single target, high DPS, or maybe even dungeons runs when that update does come out and we're able to better test it over there. And with that being said, that is going to conclude today's video. Hopefully you guys did enjoy. I had quite some fun testing this and actually learned a couple things as well. If you did find this useful or entertaining in some way, be sure to leave a like, because it does really help out and also tells me that I should do more of these styles of videos in the future. And if you have any suggestions for these types of videos that you want to tell me, or you just want to have some fun or talk to me in a more one-on-one type environment, I do stream live over on Twitch every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Feel free to stop by. We can have a chat. We can talk about these bows a little bit more or do a bit more testing. Regardless, I know you'll have a great time. But with that out of the way, that's going to be it for me today, guys. And as always, take care and peace. I can type in chat. Oh, no, I see you, bro. I love just grappling across half the map.